Welcome to our podcasts, Wise Black Nanas, Life Coaching Between the Dash. Hey, what do you do when it feels like life has thrown you a few too many challenges, knocked you down, in the bed, hard to talk about even with your best friend challenges, and it feels like the challenges are winning? Wouldn't it be nice to hear from your Nana? Or a stand-in Wise Black Nana? Well, they are Wise Black Nanas, Sharla Walker, PhD, and Joanne Early, MS, two mature women with over 70 plus years of combined coaching and mentoring, professional human resources, and business experience. The wonderful news is, these Wise Black Nanas are still living and learning about this amazing life, about resilience and grit, gratitude and appreciation, and the extraordinary power of love and friendships, being positive and supportive, and learning from others. Welcome to Wise Black Nanas. Let's listen in.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joanne. I'm one half of Wise Black Nanas, co-host podcast team. And remember, on this podcast, we talk about our lived experience. Two Wise Black Nanas talking about their lived experience. You get snapshots and memories from our past. We talk about a lot of what's happening currently, and we hope what will be happening in the future. So in this episode, we are talking about robbers of joy. Dr. Sharla?
Yes, robbers of joy. Probably no one's ever thought of it quite like that, but leave it to us. Come up with some intriguing titles to perk up your ears. And I think the events with both of us, or maybe with myself, over the last week, I've had some personal experiences, and that have led me to feel like my joy has been robbed, and I didn't know, or I knew and couldn't do anything about it. So, Joe and I will be talking about that today, and we will be sharing with you how a little bit about those experiences, and also how we have navigated that or not. So that's sometimes we can choose not to, which is better.
Absolutely, absolutely. So just what is when we say joy? What are we talking about? What are we even thinking that is? So our very simple explanation of joy is that, it's something that gives you a feel-good feeling. I feel good, I feel lighter, I feel a glow, like a little inner glow, something that puts a spring in your step. You just smile and you laugh more. Joy is just, to us, it's just kind of knowing what's precious to you and feeling very appreciative and thankful for that. You're kind of in your element, and all is well in the world, your world, at that particular time. Just think of it as kind of, I'm smiling in my heart. Then
Love
along
that.
comes
Love that.
then along comes a robber. Along comes a robber. And some of those things we think that are robbers are, the way that we compare ourselves, the way that we look at others and start thinking about all the things we don't have, all the things we haven't done, living in the past relationships, those things that, coulda, shoulda, would have happened. Coulda, shoulda, would have. Those are big robbers of joy. We'll talk a little bit more about those. Things in our work world, job slights, sometimes it's professional jealousies, just overall discontent with where we are. Sometimes a robber of joy is our feeling of lack of support, lack of friends. And as we both have experienced, real robbers of joy can be those health issues, whether it's a small health issue or a major health issue. You heard a little bit more about my experience and a major serious health issue that I have, real robber of joy. And a big robber of joy, we think, is just not being able to stay in the present. The past has so much control over us. It just pulls us to a place where we don't like being there. And sometimes we just don't know how to let that go and get out of it. Sometimes we don't give ourselves permission to forgive ourselves, permission to say no, permission to move on, and permission to admit, hey, girl, you did your very best. That's the best you could do. Move on, move to another place. We just have to give ourselves permission to be happy. And sometimes it's just not easy to do. So it's not everything, but it's just some examples of some of the things that Dr. Sharla and I have talked about. Hey, what's a robber of joy for you? And so that's where this list has come from. So Dr. Sharla, what's an example for you? What would be, an example of
Oh,
a robber of joy? And how did you get yourself out of it? How did you pull yourself out of it?
well, I think Rob of Joy could be family, could be depression, could be
Mm-hmm.
nothing that's happening at work. But I think for me, it's probably 50-50 personal, 50-50 family. And the family is the hardest part because they're the closest to you that can hurt you.
Right.
Or maybe not necessarily hurt you, but make you hang on to that pain or missing joy for a lot longer than maybe someone who can get that extra dig
Mm-hmm.
in. So, recently, a brother, he's 60, and he will not let some stuff go for 20 years. And
Mm-hmm.
it's heartbreaking because there's only like five of us left.
Right.
And me as the eldest is trying to like make peace and just like let it go. Let's be, we need to be together. But he won't let it rest. He keeps
Mm-hmm.
robbing everybody who reaches out to him that's not in his circle.
Right.
And what, my one of my younger brothers said, I'm keep trying. And I told him, I said, I can't keep trying. I can't keep trying. I'm going to give him his blessing, keep praying for him, and just do that because I can't continue to let. Oh my God, it's him again.
Yeah.
What's going on, or what is it now, and then get blasted out and called all kind of nasty names. So
Right.
I no longer will be handcuffed by him. So I just find ways to go around it with his daughter or his ex-wife. So and I feel all right about that. It's just it's just sad. It's just really, really, really sad. And I think that's the thing that robs me of the joy sometimes when I'm kind of like by myself walking around is that, oh, I'd like to call one of my brothers, but I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't, can't do that because I don't want to be cussed out.
Mm-hmm.
But, it is what it is. And, that's how I manage that. And I think as I've gotten older and matured, it's easy for me to kind of let it go.
Yes.
I don't understand it. Um, I really don't, but I do understand that that's his personality, that's his
Right.
makeup,
Right.
and I don't need to be captured by it.
Right.
So I give the love to all his siblings, and no,
Good.
that's all I can say. That's all I
Yeah.
can do.
Well, I think what you're explaining is an example of, kind of one of the biggest tenets in, in coaching and working with others is if we can help people get a sense of their own self-awareness. And I
Mhm.
think in what you're explaining is that, you've reached the realization that this is not something that I can, after all these years, that I can resolve or solve. And so I have to figure out a way to deal with that so that it doesn't rob me of my joy.
Yeah,
Every time I think of that family member or every time I interact with that family member, you figured out that this just doesn't work, and I don't want this to continue.
right.
So, based on your own awareness of, what works for you, what
Yeah.
where you don't want to live anymore. You don't want to stay stuck in the past. You don't want to stay stuck on those same issues that, you were dealing with, I don't know, 15 or 20 years ago. So sometimes you have to do that. That may not be the optimum place or the resolution, but
Right.
sometimes you're not gonna always be able to resolve, to resolve that. So
Yeah.
you have to do what works for you and what's the best place for you so that you're not constantly being dragged
Yeah.
into that,
Yeah.
that.
And you're right about that because I no longer want to be a part of that. So it's just happy times for him and wish him well, wish
Yeah.
him well,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah.
that's all I can do.
Yeah.
That's all I can do.
I
I
think you're being a little truer a little truer to yourself,
Yeah. So
I really do. And
and I
there's
feel
just
better.
there's just it's just so much. It's just all around us. It's just so easy to be pulled into, just being pulled into, a place it's just a darker place. And I think sometimes we just don't realize that we have the ability to pull ourselves out of it. And
Yeah.
whether it's something simple or whether it's something that is a lot more it's deeper and it's been going on for a longer period of time, but we still have the ability to pull ourselves out of it if we want to,
Yeah. You said the word if we want to. See, I don't do drama.
you know.
I'm not a good actress.
Yeah, yeah,
So it just doesn't work well for me at all. So
yeah, yep,
everybody else is kind of beholden to him, and it's like, why? But anyway, I won't go there. I'll leave it alone. But yeah, but I'm okay. He's all right. He's in the hospital still, but he's mending, so
yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Good, good. And you wish him well. You absolutely wish him well. I know you do. And
Yeah,
that sometimes you have to wish him well, but I'm over here, I'm over
yeah.
here. I'm over here. So when
Yeah.
we were just to bring up another point here, when we were talking about doing this episode, we had some fun with a few words that are very familiar, I'm sure, to everybody out there in our listening audience. It's woulda, coulda, shoulda,
Oh
and
God.
we
The
laugh.
highlight of my day every day.
We laugh because it's fun to kind of laugh about it now, but those words have so much control over, our moods, our actions, our just inability or ability to just move past whatever it is that we're dealing with. If you think about all the times you
Oh
say
God.
say to yourself, what you would have, could have, should have done, or whatever, you just absolutely can stay in a place where you're kind of immobilized or you're stuck. Because it kind of lets you, kind of hide behind those words. Well, I could have done this, but
Yeah.
sometimes you end up not doing anything because
Right,
You
right.
know, you're kind of stuck on what you could have done or what you should have done, and you just end up not doing anything. So we had
Right.
a lot of fun talking about woulda, coulda, shoulda.
You reminded me of when the scenario happened with the I should have did my first car, which was a 1965
Whoa.
Ford LTD
Oh
with
my goodness.
with the hugest steering wheel I had ever seen.
Some of
I
our
don't know
listeners
why
might have
that.
to go online and look that up because I'm sure they probably don't have any memories of that, but I do too.
Oh God, it was my first car, and oh God, that car put a lot of miles going from here to Palo Alto. But anyway, that's weird.
Yeah, it brings up a lot of memories, especially when we have regret about things,
Oh
and
yeah,
sometimes because of that regret, we also are kind of stuck in the past
yeah,
because, oh, I should have gotten remarried. I should have kept that job. I should have moved. Because I would have, had I done that, I would have done this. I would have done better. I
right,
would have kept my house. I would have kept that, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And we just get stuck in this spiral of, all the things that we could have, should have, would have done. So we had a lot of fun thinking about all those coulda, woulda,
yeah,
should haves. And
yeah,
so we thought it would be fun, to kind of include that in this episode because, while we're laughing and kind of having some fun with this now, the seriousness is that when we let those words take us over, they do take us, either back in the past or keep us,
right,
kind of stuck. And what we're wanting you to do is not be stuck, is to take action,
right,
is to move forward. And especially if these words take you to become robbers of joy in your life and
right.
cause you not to move forward. Um, um,
Oh Lord, so again, I'll be doing about this all night now.
Okay, all right.
It's a good dream though. It's not a bad one. It's a good one.
Okay, all right. Okay. So, to help you become self-aware of woulda, coulda, shouldas, try this. Try this. If even for a few hours or a day, just see if you could track your woulda, coulda, shouldas and ask yourself, now, what am I procrastinating about? Um, what am I resisting? What am I hiding behind? What is it that is
Yeah.
keeping me kind of stuck here behind woulda, coulda, shoulda?
Hmm.
And it's keeping me from moving forward, keeping me from actually doing something. And if you're really having difficulty answering that question, then use a well-known, very simple, easy to remember process to kind of get you to the root of, an issue or a situation. Just ask yourself why. Every time you come up with a response or an answer, then just ask yourself, well, why is that? Or why? Do that for 5 times. And the theory is that by the time you're on the fifth why, you
Right.
actually get to the root of an issue or a situation. Are we saying that, it's going to solve, the world's issues or everything that's going on? Maybe not. But at the same time, this is a fun way that you can look at your woulda, coulda, shouldas and maybe get a little deeper and learn something
Right.
and learn something about why you're hiding behind woulda, coulda, shouldas and how you can push through. How about that?
Yeah. That sounds great. That sounds great. That sounds wonderful.
So, another set of thoughts that we'd like to leave you with is if you're really struggling with not being able to find joy or find some um, periods of time that you just are feeling lighter, smiling in your heart. You may need some professional help with helping you to work through your woulda, coulda, shouldas. Don't be afraid or hesitant to look for that help. And it could be a coach, it could be a therapist or a counselor. So just don't be afraid to look for some professional help when you need it. Limit the negative interactions with negative people. And Dr. Sharla, I'm not saying that your brother is a negative person, but it does sound like to
I am.
me,
No, I'm
it,
kidding.
it does sound like to me that you've already figured out how to interact, with him that would be more of a positive, more of a positive way of talking with him and dealing with him.
Yeah, I think that he's been like this since a little kid. His
Yeah,
personality is such that, he knows everything, and that's fine. He quit
yeah,
school because he felt the teachers couldn't teach him anything. So,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
it's all about him. So it's fine. He's
yeah,
fine now.
yeah.
Do you?
Absolutely. Again, it's one way of looking at a particular situation, and it seems like you've let go of, trying to, work with it, and you've accepted that, this is what I need to do instead in order for me
Mhm.
to, not be pulled or mired into a situation
Right.
of discontent, you know. And so, one way to find joy is to, solve some of the issues that keep us mired in discontent. But we put things off, we procrastinate,
Yeah.
we woulda, coulda, shoulda them until, we kind of don't even know where it started. But if we solve some of the issues that keep us mired in discontent, likely
Yeah.
we're likely to get some joy from that because we're feeling empowered. We've accomplished something. We're feeling that I can do it, I can take care of it. And that helps bring more joy when we seek out those opportunities for empowerment.
Yeah.
And again,
I hear you.
grow grow your self-awareness. Grow your self-awareness of what qualities, what skills, what abilities you have, what activities you enjoy, what people you enjoy being around. You've worked hard, you've been diligent, you've been resourceful. Give yourself some thank yous. Be
Yeah.
open-minded, be a kind person. Those are the things that bring us unexpected joy when we
Yeah.
least expect it. Get out in the nature, walk, start small and build up. If you can't go out because of weather or just a health issue, watch a nature program. You will be amazed at how positive and how upbeat and uplifted you feel when you watch a program with beautiful scenery or animals. We live in a beautiful world, and I think sometimes we forget that. But there's lots of nature programs. So give yourself a small free treat.
Oh yeah. I do that all the time. I guess my concern is more for my younger siblings who are they're together and I'm away. So,
Hmm.
my younger sister who tries to corral everybody, but she does her best. But anyway, I give her support. So
Yeah. Support someone that is struggling for whatever reason. I mean, no, you don't necessarily have to tell them what to do, but maybe just, call them up, say, I was thinking about you. How you doing? What's happening? And that can make a difference in someone's life. Can make a huge difference in someone's life. Laugh out loud as much as you can. Sometimes,
Love that.
yeah, laugh out loud, let it go. If something silly or foolish happens, you laugh at yourself. It's not that serious. Um, we take things far more serious than we have to take them. But just look for opportunities, look for ways that you can laugh out loud.
Yeah,
Um,
I hear you.
I
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes
go
I'm
ahead.
here, sometimes I'm here alone in the house, and I'll just be cracking up, and then I go like, oh, I'll look around like, oh, I'm here by myself. Oh, okay, I'll laugh. But it's so refreshing and so liberating
It
to
is. It
do
is.
that.
Play your favorite music. Play it loud. Play it in the car. You know, in my the last episode I talked, I think yeah, I think I did a little bit about on my way to my appointments, and I would have my Motown music turned up really, really loud. And even though it might be raining and it's sloppy on the freeway, headed to my appointments, that music helped get me through.
Right,
It really did. So I just am learning, and I use that in the present. I am learning to take and find joy in absolutely every place that I can, especially in
yeah,
friendships of others. And I am, I should say, I don't want to say notorious, but I am great for telling people that in order to have good friends, you have to be a good friend.
yeah,
So let's take a measure of our friendships and figure out some ways that we can become an even better friend. And I guarantee you, you will start to feel that you have better good friends. Think
right.
about that. If it's a work situation, where you're feeling ain't no joy at work, because I gotta get here every day. I gotta dial into, to this whatever it is every day. Where's the joy in that? There is joy there. You have a job. You have some place that, that affords you a salary, that affords you the ability to live in whatever way you're living. So be thankful and joyful for that, because everyone doesn't have that. Everyone doesn't have that. And if it's truly work that's making you unhappy, guess what? There are many other opportunities and jobs out there. So this is one where woulda, coulda, shoulda really kicks in, because we can really beat ourselves up over making a job change, or really reaching the point where we realize that, hey, it's time for a change here, because there certainly ain't much joy going on in this place.
Yeah, and
So
I think I wanted to add to what you just said is that sometimes a job change, a step down, is not necessarily a bad thing,
no,
depending on where you are in the organization. It might be a good thing for you to get started all over again and get where you
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. Yep. It's funny, Dr. Charlotte, over the years, we have worked together many times. And so
Yes.
I think about, sometimes you've worked for me, sometimes I've worked for you,
Yeah,
and we always were able to remain friends and maintain a friendship, through all of that, which, is not the easiest thing to do. But
right.
the big deal is that again, you look for the best situation, I think, for you at the time. It doesn't mean that you have to remain in it for the rest of your life or the rest of your work life.
Mm,
Stop comparing ourselves sometimes to others. That's one thing that we haven't talked so much about, but that happens a lot when we look at others and we think, well, again, that could have been me, or that should have been me.
right.
But I think we have to be honest with ourselves. Really? Do you really have the same qualifications? Do you really have the same background, the same experiences? Now, I'm not discounting that a lot of times we do, And sometimes there are decisions that are made that are not fair and that you have absolutely no control over. However, there are a lot of situations that we do have control over. If we just really be more self-aware of our own situations and our own abilities and our own skills, I think that again, we if we were just a little more self-aware,
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep from saying if we were a little more honest with ourselves, then we would reach that realization. Uh,
Right.
I can think of many situations in my HR role where sometimes I had to really ask employees to really think about your abilities, your skills,
Yeah.
especially when there was, competition for a position and they didn't get the position and, they were upset about it and, wanted to know again why didn't I get the job? So lots of those situations.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I think all we're saying is that this is where self-awareness really kicks in and can help if we're just able and maybe mature enough to own that and accept what the outcome of that. Because there's a lot of hints in that. A lot of hints in that.
Right. And some
Um,
people don't have that piece of emotional intelligence, which is so important to understand and be able to articulate that,
yeah,
I need to
yeah.
do this, this, and this.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're just, again, talking about a whole episode around, just some work issues. We haven't done very much on work, but I do think there's certainly an opportunity,
Yeah.
here to talk some more in depth about about work issues. So, I think the last point that we'd like to make here is to just limit our exposure to social media. And I know we're part of that with this podcast. We're kind of part of that social media um, network or genre also. However, everything that you see on social media is not real. It's very contrived. It's beautiful homes and vacation spots and the perfect meal and, the perfect outfit. Many times, many, many hours and days and weeks have gone into making sure that that's looks like perfection. And we all know, most of us anyway, that there's kind of no such thing, as the
Right.
perfect this and the perfect that, regardless how much it costs or how much we paid for it. So just let's keep social media real and enjoy it for what it is, and just look for the more positive aspects. Look for the things that give us those quick shots of joy, that comedy show or that um, funny incident. But let's not live on those sites for hours and hours and hours. Um,
Mhm.
Dr. Sharla and I don't necessarily think it's extremely healthy for you.
Not at all.
And keep in
Even though we are
mind,
forced, even though we are forced
yeah,
because of what we do, but
absolutely. Just keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. So that's our episode for this time. Robbers of Joy. So we hope you've uh, gotten something out of this podcast because we know it's not for everybody. And as we say, we know it's for a lot of somebodies. So we hope you've heard something or you've gained even one thing that's enabled you to have one insight that inspires you to take some action for you to do something. We just want you to be self-aware, to be grateful, to take stock of what you've achieved, what you already have, not focus so much on what you haven't done, and what you do not have. Just think about how really great and good your life is already. Be grateful for all of those things. So our Nanaism for this episode is from our Dr. Maya Angelou, and it is: a joyful spirit is evidence of a grateful heart. Again, a joyful spirit is evidence of a grateful heart. So we want to thank you for listening and for commenting.
Thank you.
And please share Wise Black Nanas with your friends and families everywhere.
Thank you for tuning into our podcast, Wise Black Nanas. New programs of Wise Black Nanas are on the 1st and 15th of each month. Listen in as you learn more about Wise Black Nanas, Dr. Sharla Walker and Joanne Early. They are everyday nanas. They are not famous, not celebrities or rich, well, rich in life and its experiences. We want you to come back. Tell your friends. So, look for Wise Black Nanas podcast wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Learn more about them and the coaching services they offer at www.wiseblacknanas.com.